Begin standing on your yoga mat with your feet together. Feel your weight evenly distributed. Bring your hand to your low back and tuck your tailbone under so you're standing as tall as you can. Close your eyes and lift your chin until it feels like it's parallel to the floor. We're going into ragdoll pose from here, so on your next inhale, step your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. As you inhale, lift your arms, look up. As you exhale, swan dive forward. Bring a micro bend to the knees and let your head hang. Grab opposite elbows, and then just gently, ever so slightly, shift your weight back and forth in your feet until you feel your weight evenly distributed. As you inhale, visualize the inhale initiating from the bottoms of the feet. So as you inhale, you're following that air all the way up through your hamstrings, bringing length and space. And as you exhale, feeling your upper body melt over your thighs. You can stay in stillness or you can rock side to side, whatever feels best for you. Really try to let the tension go in the neck. And when you're ready, let your hands go. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, and round all the way up to standing. As you inhale, lift your arms, look up. As you exhale, dive forward once again, letting your whole upper body be really heavy. No rush to get down there. Grab opposite elbows. Let the upper body be extremely heavy. With each exhale, just let any stress or any tension that you're holding on to go. Let it leave your body. Let the hands drop, bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, and round all the way up to standing. We're going to come into standing pigeon pose. Bring your hands to your heart, bend the knees, shift all your weight into your left foot, and lift your right foot, crossing it over the left thigh. Back stays long as you bring your chest down towards your right leg. The closer you bring your chest down towards the legs, the more you'll feel it in your right hip. Try to keep the chest open, shoulder blades drawn toward each other. Relax the space between the eyebrows. As you inhale, come to stand. As you exhale, bend the knees. We'll go to the other side. Shift your weight into your right foot and lift the left foot, energizing the toes and bringing the heart forward. Sit low and bring the chest down towards the legs, and you should really feel it in your left hip. As you inhale, rise up, bring both feet down to the ground, and then just send the hands down to the mat, let the head hang, and begin to bend the knees deeply and slowly until you come all the way down to the mat. When you get there, extend your legs out in front of you. Remove the flesh underneath the sits bones so you're really plugged into the mat. Feet are hip distance. Sit tall, and then bring your hands wherever they can comfortably go. Maybe that's your shins, maybe it's your sides of your feet, maybe it's the big toes. Doesn't really matter. What's important is that the spine is long. If you look at me now, my spine is now curved and my low back is tilted back. We want it to be tilted forward. We want the pelvis tilted forward. So you want to think about having your stomach melt onto your thighs. With each exhale, you pull yourself down, you melt forward, and you breathe into the tightness in the hamstrings. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and try to keep looking forward, not down. With each exhale, you come even further, finding space and length in the backs of the legs. Try not to think anything. I know these tight muscles can be really frustrating and can bubble up some emotions that maybe are not the most pleasant. Just let it go and let it be whatever it is. To counter this pose, we're going to do tabletop. So bring your hands behind you about 8 inches, fingers pointing toward the body, and then bring the feet halfway to your butt. Push evenly into the hands and the feet, lift the hips. This is Ardha Parivartanasana, and this is in my blog in detail, and I'll link below in case you want to check that out. You want to keep lifting the hips up, breathing space into the shoulders, into the hip flexors, and when you're ready, release the pose. We're coming into a great hip opener, so sit cross-legged, but you don't want your legs on top of one another. You want your right foot out in front slightly. If you have quite a bit of flexibility available to you, you can just keep your spine long and walk your hands away from your body. But if you're really tight, you want to make sure that your alignment is good. So if you look at how I am right now with my back curved and my pelvis tilted back, you want to really focus on tilting your pelvis forward so you have that low back really long and then walking your hands out. You'll feel it right there in the back of the right hip. And some of you may just want to stay tall with the hands closer to your feet because you'll already feel it, and others will want to come forward, maybe even coming onto the forearms. So don't really worry about where I am or where somebody else is. Just do what feels best for you. And feel free to take any small movements if you want to rock side to side. But whatever you do, you want to make sure that your hips stay on the ground. So you might even push into your hands a little bit just to feel the connection of your legs and your hips on the mat. When you're ready to release the pose, gently, slowly come up. And from here, we'll take a little twist to the left. So bring the left hand behind you, keep the shoulder blades drawn toward each other, chest broad. Inhale, come forward, and we'll go to the other side. So look out over your right shoulder and take it back to center. Shifting to the other side, bring the left foot out in front slightly. Spine is really long and tall. And then begin to walk your hands out until you feel something in your left hip. So whenever you feel something, just stop and breathe there and visualize length and space and the release of tension. And if it goes away, keep going further down. Remember to press into the hands just to connect your hips to the mat because they tend to lift up. As you inhale, rise back to seated, slowly, gently. Twist to the left, looking out over your left shoulder. Come back to center and twist to the right. So initiating the twist at the navel. Come back to center. From here, we're going to stack the knees. So bring your left knee so it's in line with the middle of your yoga mat. And then stack the right knee on top of that. I'm going to turn so you can see what it looks like from the front. For people who have had knee surgery or have knee trouble, I wouldn't recommend this. I would just fast forward and skip to the next thing. So you want to have your knees stacked, but if you have really tight hips, the top knee is going to be way out to your right, and that's totally fine because eventually it will stack. It just takes some time to build up that flexibility. So if your knees are not stacked directly on top of each other, don't worry about it. You just want to be mindful about any kind of pain and identifying whether it's really pain or whether it's just tightness. If you feel good here, you can take the Gomukhasana arms, which I'm going to show you in a second. So you lift up the left arm, and then you bend the elbow and grab hold. So you might want to use a yoga strap as shown up above. This picture is from my post on how to use a yoga strap, and I'll link to that below as well. When you're there, if you feel good, you can come forward, but if it feels like it's too much, you're beginning to feel pressure on the knees, you're beginning to feel some sort of pain, then back off immediately and just listen to your body. If the elbow thing doesn't work for you, just keep your hands out in front of you. That's perfectly fine. The focus here is to breathe into that right hip and to keep the chest open. When you're ready, release the pose and we'll take it to the other side, but really be gentle and mindful as you switch sides because the knees are really delicate. Bend the right knee out in front of you, bring it in line with the middle of your mat, and then intend to stack the left knee on top. You might be able to stack one side perfectly, and then the other side you find one knee is way out, and that's totally normal. So you can sit tall just like this and stay here, or you can take the Gomukhasana arms. So lifting the right arm and bending at the elbow, and then grabbing hold of the hand from behind or using a yoga strap to help. Try to keep your upper back, your lower back, the whole back really, very long. Keep the chest open. And stay really mindful and in the moment as you breathe deeply. Release the pose when you're ready. From here, we're going to take cobbler's pose. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Bring the feet as close to your pelvis as you can and bring your thumbs to the middle of the arches of the feet. Peel the feet open like a book, and if your elbows and legs are touching, just push your elbows into your legs to open them up a little more and bring your heart forward. Again, thinking about the back, trying to keep it long. Keeping your chest as open as you can and looking forward, not straight down. With each exhale, try to come forward just a little bit more. As you inhale, rise to release the pose. And extend both legs, coming into a split here. This is another great opportunity to use a yoga block. Bring your hands to your hips, tilt your pelvis forward. If your pelvis can't stay forward, use a yoga block and sit on it, and that'll help bring the tilt in the pelvis. Think about your inner thighs spinning upwards towards the sky. Flex the feet, wiggle the toes, and bring the hands in front of you. Then begin to point and flex the feet. Visualizing space and length in the inner thighs. Working to keep your inner thighs spinning up towards the sky. Keep the toes really active. And on your next inhale, open up the arms and lift the right arm up overhead. Breathe space and length in between the rib cage. Keep your quadriceps engaged. Keep your toes engaged. Inhale, come to center, and as you exhale, take it to the other side. Breathing space and length, opening up the whole side body. And as you inhale, come back to center. Open up the arms, turn to your left, look out over your left shoulder. Keep the feet flexed, quads engaged, kneecaps lifted. Inhale back to center, exhale, other side. Inhale back to center, bring the hands to the middle, and then begin to walk your hands out. Maybe they just come out a couple inches, or maybe they come out far enough that you can bring your forearms to the ground. Maybe you can extend all the way. Just keep thinking about tilting that pelvis forward, spinning the inner thighs up towards the sky, and keeping the feet flexed. Being mindful here, listening to your body, and identifying whether it's pain that you feel or tightness, because you never want to feel any kind of pain in yoga, but the tightness you might be able to breathe through and work to release. As you inhale, release the pose, be really slow, really mindful. Bring your hands underneath your knees, gently using your upper body strength. Lift your legs and then close them. Extend your legs out in front of you. Remove the flesh underneath the sits bones. Bend the right knee and bring the calf muscle out to the right. Right knee pointed straight out in front of you, in line with your hip bone. And then lean back, keeping your left foot flexed, just until you feel something across the right quadricep. So maybe you have to lean back a little bit more, or maybe you come all the way down into a supine position. But if you do this, try to keep your heart lifted. Bring the arms up overhead. And as you breathe, think about length in the quadricep. As you inhale, begin to release the pose slowly, mindfully, and then be really gentle with the knee as you extend the right leg and bring the left foot back behind you. As you do this, move the left calf muscle out to the left knee in line with your hip and pointing straight forward, right foot engaged, and then lean back until you feel something in the left quadricep. Maybe you need to lean all the way back and bring the arms up overhead. If you do this, just be mindful about keeping your chest lifted. As you inhale, begin to release the pose. Come out slowly and mindfully, and be careful with the knee as you extend the left leg. From here, we'll come to lay on our backs. Come all the way down and hug the knees in towards the chest. Grab opposite elbows, and then tuck your chin so your neck is really long. And then feel your spine against the mat. See if maybe you can push into your hips to lengthen your tailbone. Hug your knees closer to your chest. Lengthen the spine even more. Then release the pose, bring the hands onto the knees together, and we'll do little circles. So imagining those little knobs at the bottom of your spine, you're going around those. as you circle. So you're feeling the weight of your body as it massages the tops of your hips, the side of your hip, the low back, and then the side of the other hip. Change directions. And come to stillness. From here, we're going to hug the right knee into the chest and extend the left leg. Keep the left leg long. And then open up the knee slightly and pull it in towards the right armpit. Really push out of the bottom of the left foot to keep that leg long. On your next inhale, take the outside edge of the right foot and pull it so you can bring the knee closer to the armpit. This is one-legged happy baby pose. So the foot is flat, toes are engaged. And when you're ready, release the pose. And hug the left knee into the chest. Open up the knee and bring it in towards the armpit. Lengthen the right leg even more. Brighten the left toes, and when you're ready, reach down and grab hold of the outside edge of the left foot. And then pull that foot in towards you so the left knee is closer to the armpit. When you're ready, release the pose. Use your core strength to bend both legs. Take your feet hip distance apart. Glue your low back to the mat. Open up the arms a little, and then without moving your feet, just move your knees to the right. So your feet will lift a little, but keep their positioning on the mat. You should feel a nice stretch across the top of the left hip flexor. Breathe into any areas of tension or tightness that you feel. And with each exhale, just let it go. As you inhale, come back to center. Keep your feet just where they are and take the knees out to the left, bringing the stretch into the top of the right hip flexor. As you inhale, come back to center. Lift both knees, flexing the feet, bringing the hands to the knees, and then opening up the legs. So we want to keep the feet active here. The legs are heavy, and with the strength of your upper body, you're pulling your knees closer down towards the floor. As you inhale, release the pose and cross the right foot over the left thigh. Lift the left shin a bit and reach underneath the left thigh and pull the leg towards you. As you do this, try to keep the right knee in line with the left knee. Check in with your neck, make sure your neck is long, and to do that, make sure you're tucking your chin towards your chest a bit. Relax your shoulders. With each exhale, pull a little bit closer. And when you're ready, release the pose and cross the left foot over the right thigh. Interlace the fingers behind the right thigh, feet are active. Keep the left knee in line with the right. Back of the neck is long, shoulders relaxed, away from your ears. With each exhale, pull the leg closer to you. Breathe space and length, and let go of any tension that you feel. Release the pose. Cross the right leg over the left thigh. Cactus the arms. And then roll onto the knife edge of the left foot so the right foot comes flat down onto the ground. From here, take your left hand and bring it down to the lower part of the right shin. The knee will try to come towards you. Push the knee away from you and you'll feel the stretch across the IT band right here. Keep pushing the knee away from you. Keep pulling the shin toward you. But keep that right foot rooted firmly down into the ground. Release the pose. Cross the left foot over the right thigh. Roll onto the knife edge of the right foot and firmly plant the left foot into the ground. Take the right hand to the lower part of the shin and then pull it towards you. The knee will try to go towards your body as shown, but you want to push it away from you. And you'll feel a nice stretch across the IT band. Check in again with your neck. You want to make sure it's long, so tuck your chin if it's not. When you're ready, release the pose. Take a deep breath in and extend the legs out away from you, taking them mat distance apart. Open up the hands so the palms are facing the sky and close your eyes. Finding final Shavasana, corpse pose here. Let your eyes sink into the sockets. Try to stay here for at least 5 minutes, letting your body absorb all the good things you just did. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.